am in the car playing our favorite song. Turn it up, windows down, we sing along. The summer night has just begun. The moon is bright, let's have some fun. Oh, this is everything, with you right next to me. So alive, and tonight I'm thinking that I don't wanna go. Calling sick in the morning, baby, don't leave.
Good morning, wherever you are. Good afternoon, good evening, good night. Welcome to this week's Simplified Relationships. I'm your relationship coach, Jayson Mair. Thank you very much for watching. Press the right one, might help. Hang on a sec. Let's get this. There we go. There I am. What's happening? We got all sorts of things happening this morning. Thank you for joining us. And for those in the Southern Hemisphere, happy Valentine's Day to you all. Thank you for watching if you are tuning in. We are going to have a special guest I'm going to bring on in a few moments. Wow, we've got a few people already up this morning or during the day over there. Got Marnie, welcome. Go get him, Jason, tuning in. Good to see you, buddy. Kenny, good morning. Nice new profile photo for Kenny. It's good to see. And Angie, hey, welcome from Idaho. Yes, that photo of you with the beanie in the snow would probably be how it is right now, isn't it, over there? It's quite cool over there. So thanks for joining from Idaho. So Valentine's Day, we sort of go, well, you know, some people are like, yeah, it's a great idea. Some say it's not a great idea. Gaston, good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us. Great to see you there. Yes, some people are like, well, I'm single. I'm not going to do it. I don't like to do it. Some people are in couples and go, why do I need to do it on Valentine's Day? Why can't I just do it every day? Well, that's what we're going to discuss. And I thought, you guys don't want to hear from me all the time. Let's bring on someone who's just got as much wealth of information, who's divine, has it all, knows what's going on, understands the ins and outs, the ups and downs of relationships just as much as me, if not even more. I'll give her, and we will bring on the wonderful Annie K. There she is.
Hey, Jay.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fabulous. How are you?
Very well, very well. Hear me loud and clear there?
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This is awesome for a Sunday morning, and the sun is shining, the birds are chirping, and happy Valentine's, everybody.
Well, I'd say that you're doing better than me because you've been outside to see the birds chirping and the sun's out. I haven't opened the blinds yet, so I'm glad you know what's going on outside. So, thank you very much for coming on. As some people know, Annie and I have known each other for quite a few years, and we met, I think it was about 10 years or something ago. We were at a Tony Robbins / T. Harv Eker event in Melbourne, Australia, which was, and we've been crossing paths and, you know, chatting and so forth and having random dinners with friends and stuff for years sort of thing. And I thought, got to get this girl on and I know that you're a big lover of Valentine's Day, and you've been doing a lot of videos recently and just celebrated your birthday this week. And if there's anyone that's been spoilt with love, it's certainly you. I think you've done 2 or 3 videos nearly every day with gifts and messages of love coming from all around the world. You're more worldly than I am. So It's good to have you on. But would you like to introduce yourself and explain to the people out there who you are, what you do, and how much you love it?
Thank you, Jason. Well, the only thing that you did forget to talk about is when we had that lunch in the restaurant in Melbourne, and we were like the loudest people in there, and we were laughing our heads off, and we were talking about all things relationships, and there were all these little elderly ladies having their little lunch, and we were just like, oh. So, you know, it's so wonderful when you go to events like where we met, and you form this friendship that it's not like you have to see each other every day, but when you do, you just pick up where you left off. And that is an amazing relationship. I mean, both of us are into relationships, but our relationships are not just with, let's say, our lovers, you know, our partners, our significant other. We have many, many other relationships. And the kind of stuff that I feel that both of us actually help people support, teach, coach, whatever, facilitate their growth. It's about across the board. Because what you do, I would say the foundations of you and how you show up in the world is you show up everywhere the same way. You don't show up in this relationship this way and in that one that way. Your fundamentals are the same across the board. And that's the kind of stuff that I do. I help people to reconnect to themselves and reconnect with each other. So who they are today, because what happened yesterday, what happened a year ago, what happened 10 years ago, especially in long-term relationships, who you were in your 20s, would you say, are you the same in your 40s or your 50s?
Thank God I'm not, trust me.
No.
Been through a lot, understood a lot, so yes.
That's right. So our values back when we were 20 was party, fun, travel, this, that. I'm not saying I'm in my 50s, but I still like to travel. I can't wait for the skies to open. But values are a little bit different. You know, it's like family and it's contribution and connection. And it's just a little bit different. So I work with people, whether they're singles, and as you introduced the show today, you were talking about whether you're single or whether you're in a relationship, this applies to all. So I do work with people who are on their own. I work with people who are in a marriage, but I work just with one. And that also happens, you know, it's sort of, what's that word? The ripple effect goes over into the household. Or I work with the couple. Ultimately, it's about reconnecting yourself with yourself and then igniting the spark in the relationship. Because that's what we all want. Everybody talks about, oh, I wish it was the way it was before. Well, you don't want it to be the way it was before. You want it better and who you are today. So increase the quality of your life with all the knowledge that you accumulated in the last, how long you've been together. Yeah. So that's me. That's why I'm called the Relationships Architect, because I build. I help people build from the ground up.
Yeah. No, and you do a fantastic job at it as well. And we're in a very similar field sort of thing. So I understand totally. And you did hit a point there, which a lot of people forget, that when working on relationships, the main key that we work with is not just working on the relationship and the couple, but it's you as the individual. Because a lot of the times, you know, you and I have discussed many times that it's not just the relationship with our lovers and our partners and our friends and family, but it's the relationship we have with ourselves. And as I said in a recent show a couple of weeks ago, that if you don't have the relationship right with yourself, whatever issue or arguments or disagreements or anything you have with that other person, you're fighting it twice, because you're fighting it with them, but you're fighting it with yourself as well. So you're going into a boxing ring, beating the living crap out of yourself, coming out of it, and then you're going to do it again with the other person and cop it from them. And it's just insane. And I've always, with Valentine's Day, I've always been, you know, that it's good to celebrate it, but at the same time, as a lot of people will say, it's a bit of a marketing campaign. But it also, I've used it as two ways. I've said once that, you know, it's also a good reason for you to go and do something for your loved one when you haven't done anything for the other 364 days of the year. And there are people like that are busy and don't do that. But also it gives you a chance to sort of show appreciation for the people you love. And you don't have to do that for others. Sometimes you need to do it for yourself. And as we said in the title of this, it's not just Valentine's Day for couples, but also singles, because with this current environment, as you're well aware, there's a lot of relationship separations last year because they're all put in the same room for the first time in years and realized, oh, geez, and some have been able to stick it through and some have pulled the pin. So there's a lot of singles that are happening as well today, and it's sort of showing them a bit of love as well. Don't you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. And, like, let's just have a look at you and I. We are both single, right?
Oh, no, I'm recently off the single list, but yes.
Oh, okay. We have to have a coffee. Congratulations. Wonderful. I didn't know that. Okay, that's awesome. So, well, I am single. So I actually bought myself this fabulous tablecloth that has the word love all over it and love heart. Yeah. And I've got red cutlery, and I'm actually making myself a really beautiful meal today. I got a lovely bottle of red wine, and I've got this awesome music. I created a music list, and I'm going to celebrate my love for me. And I realized in my journey, because I was married, I was with somebody for 21 years, and I realized that I didn't love me. So how could I love him enough? Or, well, what's enough, I guess, but how could I love him from the depths of me when I couldn't love me? So I expected him to fill me up with all this stuff. He couldn't, no matter. And I remember at the beginning of our relationship, and like, when you get to that point when you start bickering and all that, and even having a fight, and he said to me, he goes, no matter what I do, you'll never be satisfied. And I was like, absolutely horrified. And then I thought, oh, wow. Well, you know what? I actually went and apologized to him after I did my growth and my learning and everything else. And I could see with every lesson that I learned, he was right in so many ways. So I get in my car, I go to his house. He goes, why are you here? I said, I need to talk to you. And I apologize. So I have been apologizing for many years. But the thing is that apology is not just for him, it's for me, because it gives me my freedom, because forgiveness is freedom. And that is my message to the world. So you want to be able to forgive yourself, because otherwise all that resentment that you feel toward yourself subconsciously keeps you small and keeps you down. So it's important that you do the work on yourself, right? Because couples, they trigger each other, really. And that's all it is. That person has been sent to you and for you to trigger you. So then you go away and learn, hey, what's happening inside here?
Yeah.
So that's kind of, like where I come from, because it's important to love yourself and then to be able to attract the person that you want into your life. So I'm not going to have a relationship until I know that I'm fully ready. I'm close. I like just a little bit more. There's still a few things, and let me tell you, I'm on it. But I'm happy. And that's the great thing. I'm content and I'm happy. I do feel lonely sometimes, especially with the lockdown. But I mean, that's normal. That's just absolutely normal. So I just process it through. I call Jay and, hey, what are you doing?
And that's the best way to go about it. And that's a big thing. You've explained it. It could not explain it any better. It's more about, forgiving others, but also forgiving yourself. I deal with some, because I work, as you know, a lot more women than men, and the amount of women that will beat themselves up about things. And I go, hang on a sec, who are you in a relationship with? And they go, oh, well, this person. I go, so they don't have a part in it as well? Oh, yeah, but I could have done this, or I could have done that, or I should have done this, or I should have done that. And as Tony Robbins would say, you shit all over yourself. But it's you've got to, as I said before, it's like getting in a boxing ring and beating the living crap out of you. You can only do so much as one person in a relationship, and you can only do so much for that other person. You're not their mother, and you can't, or father, and you can't make them do stuff they don't want to do. So it does take two people to work at it. So you've got to show yourself, a bit of forgiveness and a bit of love, because, if they're not going to give it, somebody's got to give it, and you've got to, show some respect to yourself as well, which a lot of people forget to do that, especially when it's a long relationship. And I guess you get beaten down over the years, and it's not just from the relationship, it's life. Life sort of beats you down sometimes as well, and you've just got to, what's that Sylvester Stallone movie? I think it's one of the new Rocky movies, and he said it's not how hard you hit, but it's how hard you get back up again and keep going, sort of thing. And it's it's incredible. So got to do it, don't you?
Yes, and I think it's so cool that you said what you said before, because it actually comes down to personal responsibility. But the word responsibility, like a lot of people they know kind of what it means, but there's so many to everything. There could be more a deeper meaning and how do you apply responsibility to a relationship? And that's where a lot of people there's no balance. A relationship, and whether it is an intimate one where it's 50-50, or in a workplace. Because we spend half our life at work. I mean, some of us work from home, but I still remember when I used to work for a corporate in corporate, and you find that you have 10 people in a team, but it's not equal. It's not 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, and 10. It's one person takes on more, they overwork, they're tired, they're frustrated, whereas the rest, they have time to go for coffees, and they go here and they go there. So there has to be an equal balance. Now, the thing is, within your percentage, you are 100% responsible to your percentage. So I'm 100% responsible to my 50% in a relationship. And what does that mean? You're responsible for what you say and what you don't say, and what you do and what you don't do, right? So many times you don't say what you really need or want out of fear. And then you might say something, but you don't follow through with the doing. So then the person doesn't take you seriously, because it's a repeated behavior that comes from fear, right? And here's the third bit, which is the responsibility for your own emotions. So, Jayson, you hurt me. You hurt me, right? And Jayson goes, I just told you what I think or what I feel. I go, no, but you hurt me. Now, hang on. I created the feeling inside of me. You didn't, unless you punch me or slap me, whatever, right? You actually didn't physically hurt me. What you said triggered something inside of me, an emotion. That emotion comes from somewhere else in the past, right? So then I'm sort of raging inside and all of that, and you hurt me. Well, I need to address the emotion, right?
Yeah.
So responsibility falls on me to figure out what is going on for me. Now, figuring it out, you can't always. That's why it's great to go and get professional help, because that's why these people are there. They studied this sort of stuff, and they are qualified to be able to hold the space for you and perhaps give you another angle, another question. And that's what you and I do. It's funny you said you deal more with women. Well, I'm more, it's really interesting, men gravitate towards me, but not because they want to pick me up. Because I don't know, I have I offer them a space. I don't know, because they come to me, and they open up, so they can be. We create a safe space for these people to be vulnerable with no judgment. And I think that's what professionals do in this field of mindset and relationships and psychology and inner child work. And there's so many. We are like a diamond, and we have many different angles, right? So we can address all parts of us, then we become whole and complete. And that's what integrity is, being whole and complete, not just what you say you do, keeping your word. There's so much more to it.
But isn't there a meme that goes around? It's not what you do in front of people, it's what you do in your own private space that shows integrity the most. I mean, if
Yes.
you're like, I'll be one way in front of people, but at home it's like, well, maybe there's a bit of a disconnect, and that will come through at times when you're working with people, because I'll go, okay, I saw you on Facebook recently do this or do that, and that's, it's all comes down, and you can't go, oh well, Facebook made me do it, or my best mate made me do it, or anything else. You've got to take that responsibility. And it's funny when you say the word responsibility. I said this to I've said it obviously numerous times to couples, but I remember the first time I had a bit of conflict with it. I said it to a couple, and I said it to the male of the couple, and he said, oh, I hate that word. I said, oh, can I ask why? And he goes, oh, just reminds me of something my mum used to say. And over the years, I've heard that and it's not just been guys, it's been guys and girls that have said, the word responsibility was something that you were told as a kid. Oh, take responsibility, and how old are you? Act your age and stuff like that. And it's kind of, when we talk about responsibility, it's the same with, Valentine's Day, because that's what we're discussing today. But you don't have to celebrate Valentine's Day. You could do it every other day with your loved one, or for yourself every other day, and you don't have to do it today. But it's your responsibility to at least, it's still show some responsibility to look after yourself and show your love for your partner and the people that are in your life. I was on a call. I wasn't on a call, sorry. I was messaging through social media an old work colleague on Friday night. And it was probably one of the best conversations I had in a while. And we worked together. It was what my first big job that I ever had when I was a kid. I worked there for 7 years. I did 2 jobs when I was really young. And he was one of the guys that worked in this job. And I just said, we connected years ago, and we only talk occasionally. But I just said to him, I said, man, there were things that you guys did for me that, really helped me at a time where I wasn't, very good as a person when I was a kid, sort of thing. And I said, you guys kind of molded me. I was there for 7 years. And it was just, he just was taken back, and he sort of said, wow, I thank you for that, but there's no need for it. And I said, no, there is, because I'm taking the responsibility, because I want to be able to, I always like to let people know what part they take in my life, what they've been able to do for me and given me to who I am today. Because if it wasn't for those people, who knows where I'd be. If it wasn't for the family who took me in around the same time, who knows where I would have been, And that's when I'm able to, I learn that, and I keep learning that even to this day, and try to show that to the people that come into my life. It's the reason why you and I have been friends for so long, and the reason why I brought you on today is because, the interactions we've had, the learnings I have from our conversations and stuff are always good, and you always pick up on things from different people. But I'd like to repay it. I like to say thank you. I like to bring people in and discuss things and stuff like that, because that's what life's about. Someone said to me one day, for years, people would say, I wonder what the meaning of life was. And as a kid, you don't know. You're like, I don't know, I lost a friend in an accident. Life, there is no meaning or whatever else. But as you get older, you start to learn. And one of the things I learned was just all you can do is be the best you can be at who you are. But that's always improving every day. It's like you said, am I the same person as I was 20 years ago? Are we both the same people we were 20 years ago? No, because we've developed, we've learned, and we know so much more now. We've experienced so much more. And that's, in a way, when you're showing your love for someone and stuff like that, you've still got to, 20 years after being together, you still got to sort of, tell them how much, not just how much you love them, but how much you appreciate them. And I think like days like today, and you've got to do that for yourself, how much you appreciate yourself. Who was it? I think it was Snoop Dogg got an award a year or so ago. And it's the funniest but the best. If you've never seen it, guys or girls, when you get on YouTube and look up, I think it's Snoop Dogg's award speech. And he gets up there and he goes, I want to thank me for all the hard work I've done, the late nights, the hard struggles, the picking myself up when I knocked down. And I just went, and everyone's laughing because I think, and normally if you took that out of context, you go, oh, you're a bit full of yourself. But I liked it because he was coming from a different approach. All those speeches are all about, thanking all the other people, which is great. And he does do that as well. But sometimes you've got to do an award speech for yourself. You've got to get up in the morning and look in the mirror and just go, you know what? Thank you for being you. Thank you for not giving up. Thank you for not chucking in the towel. Thank you for not, drinking yourself into a mess or wiping yourself out like a lot of people do and stuff like that. And that's a bit of Valentine's love for yourself in a way, wouldn't you say?
Well, I think if you're single, I think you got to be connected to yourself. And it's really great what you were saying about calling your friend and taking the responsibility to acknowledge. And acknowledgement goes such a long way with yourself, acknowledging the things that you do well. But people don't normally stop and say, hey, you know what? I did that. And this is where gratitude comes in, where if you do gratitudes every single day, and people, like a lot of people that are successful, if you have a look at people ask, well, why are you so successful? Because they start the morning with a ritual. They have a ritual. And within that ritual, they usually have gratitude because they're grateful for what they have in the world and what's happening. But within those gratitudes, they also put themselves in. Like, I'm grateful for the thoughts that I have. I'm grateful for my heart. I'm grateful for how I love humankind because I like that about myself. So then I'm able to give that out. And when I struggle, I actually sit there and I just go, okay, what do I do now? And I do this self-talk. So I do positive self-talk. And I'd like for every one of you that are watching this and listening to this to try this in the morning 20 times, in the evening 20 times, in the mirror, having presence with yourself. Look at yourself in the eyes. And and I tell you, that's a lot of people tell me it's really hard to do presence with self. Oh, now we're closer, right?
Yeah, let's get really in there now.
and then say, I like myself. I like myself. I like myself. I like myself. And a lot of people struggle with this. So when I work with my clients, I get them to do this. And then when we debrief it the following week, they go, that was so hard. And then I tell them, okay, how about this? Make it more fun next time and do it in different moods until you find that self-belief mood. So you can do it happy. I like myself. You can do it condescending. I like myself. You can do it sad. I like myself. So when you start connecting to those moods, because you're having a game, all of a sudden you go, I don't like any of these. I like myself. I like myself. Yes, I like myself. I like myself. You do it 20 times and all of a sudden this energy comes within you and you go, all right, I'm ready to take on the world. Like Tony Robbins does the make a move, so you make your move. It's like you go, yes. So find something that can connect you to you, because when you're in a mood, one of those, it's hard to get out. So collect tools from people and if you watch motivational videos or inspirational videos or just do self-talk. But this is an easy one. I like myself. When you go for a job interview, before you go in, I like myself. I like myself. I like myself. When you want to ask somebody out on a date, I like myself. I like myself. When whatever it is, if you're running
I like myself.
I like myself. I like myself. And I've been doing this since my mentor, Mac Newton, shared this with me, or with us, with the group at the time, back in 2013. And it's a matter of practice. So now I just sit there and I just go, I like myself. I like myself. And, especially last year during the lockdown, I did a lot of I like myself. I like myself. And you got to say I like myself before you say I love myself. Yeah. And that's a big distinction in relationships. You can love somebody but not like them.
We've had this discussion. I had this discussion with young Sandy Archer, who's on and said g'day to us before. She has said to me, I love you, but I like you. And said exactly the same thing. There's people out there that say I love you, but they don't like you. And you've got to like it before you love it. There are people, things out there you love, you don't like. And I know some people are going, oh, that's messing with I'm short-circuiting there, but it is true. Yeah, you really, if you really like someone or like something, it's really a lot more meaning when you say you love someone. A lot of people don't take it that way, don't think of it that way.
And that's why when you say I like myself, at one point, the more you like yourself, the more you are going to do things for you. And then you're going to start falling in love with who you are, because you're going to give yourself permission to be who you are, and because you like who you are. You don't want somebody else to give you the accolades and to give you significance and to constantly give you approval. Thank you, Sandy. Happy Valentine's Day to you too. So it's important.
These are just a few people have just dropped in to say hello as well. So Christine is in Florida.
So I'm kind of saying hello. Yeah, Sandy, I like myself. Yeah, so that is for anybody who's watching, try it because I think it really, really works.
Yeah.
Yes. So I haven't been on I haven't seen your shows before. Do people ask questions? Do we get people to ask questions, or we just share?
They can ask questions if they've got any questions they want to ask, and it's probably a good thing because I know that you're doing. I know straight after this you're going to go and have something to eat, and then you're doing a live 2-hour Zoom session where you're asking questions. So if people want to start that up now, they're welcome to ask Annie any questions whatsoever. Please chuck it in the comments, and we'll throw it up there, and we'll tackle Annie's knowledge and see what she can give us on this day of love, not just for others, but for yourself as well. All right?
Yes. As it's Valentine's Day, and you were talking about celebrating love every day, and not just on Valentine's Day. But you know what? There's a lot of people that say, Valentine's Day, it's too commercial. Well, that's because you make it commercial. You don't need to. You don't need to go and buy something. Sometimes for your partner, it could be just that you wake up and you acknowledge them and say, Happy Valentine's Day. And give them a nice big, disgustingly, that smell in the morning. Yes, right? But right?
Go brush your teeth, then you can give that to me, all right?
Yeah. It's funny. I just got a retainer because at night I'm grinding my teeth.
Yeah.
So I got a retainer, and every morning when I take it out, I'm like, oh God. And I'm thinking, when I'm gonna have somebody and we get up in the morning and I go, I really don't know, because I almost kill myself with whatever. And you brush your teeth at night, everything is nice and clean, but oh my goodness. But anyway, when there's passion, you don't care about any of that. Yeah. But and this comes down to, can we address the love languages?
Yes, sure can.
Yes.
Sure can.
So I don't know how many people know about the love languages. So there was a book written by a gentleman called The 5 Love Languages. His name is Gary Chapman. And he's a psychologist and a relationship coach. Actually, he's a counselor. So he counseled thousands and thousands of people over the years. And one day he just sort of thought, you know what? It seems like I'm hearing the same story over and over and over again. So he thought he's going to go back to his notes and he's going to look at the commonality with which people come to him. And he found that there's 5 things that people come to him with, right? And he realized that these are 5 ways that people love to be loved. Yep. So then he wrote the book, right? Yep. So that when it comes to events like Valentine's Day, if you know your partner's love language, do you have the book there, do you?
No, I thought there was something on the floor there I was trying to grab because I didn't want to, but I do have it. I've got it on Audible, but I also have it. It's in one of the other bookcases up the other end. So, of course they all bookcases behind there. I've always wanted to.
How good is this, right? Look at that. I love IKEA. Check this out, right?
Every time I talk to you, I'm like, I just thought it was the pattern of the wall. I didn't know.
Nice.
There we go. We learn something every day, even from people we talk to a lot.
So this is the book, the five love languages.
Yes.
And it talks about there's 5 love languages. It's words of affirmation, quality time, touch, acts of service, and gifts. All right, so I just given you all of mine in the order, right? Yeah. So words of affirmation is things, is communication, is how you want to be spoken to. Now, some people like the whole, you're beautiful and you're gorgeous and you have the best body, but some people don't want that. Some people just want to hear, hey, thanks for that cup of coffee, and I love the way you cook, or I love when you do that.
Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate you as you, not just, I love you or you're friggin' awesome, but sometimes appreciation.
Yeah. And it's also, some people like to communicate. So that's what words of affirmation is, because words is the fact that somebody takes the time out to talk with you because you like to communicate, right? So,
well, there we go. We got a question coming up. I'll let you continue, and we'll go back to that sort of thing. She's got a question. So.
You have the questions, right? So
yeah, they're all coming up.
Love languages. So how's this? So the next one is like quality time. So you know what? People always come up to you and they want to spend time with you because that's how they feel loved, because they want that connection. And then there's touch. Now, touch doesn't necessarily mean sex. It means, just putting your hand, have you tactile people, right? When you talk to somebody and when you laugh, you put your hand on their thigh, or like, hey, or sometimes when a man puts his hand on the small of your back, because he needs to be she to you, or when she touches your hand, or touches your face. So that's quality time. That's touch. And acts of service, like, when somebody does something for you. So, for example, if my love language is acts of service, and you've come home and I've come home from work or whatever, and the washing's been done and put away, and you cook me a meal, I'm yours. Right?
Okay, let's get going.
Acts of service is not my language, so I can do all that for myself. But talk with me, let's go for a coffee and talk with me, I'm done. Because words of affirmation, quality time, and touch. So if you touch my hand, that's it. I'm happy as Larry. And then there's gifts.
She's easily pleased, people. She's easily pleased. That's okay.
Very easily pleased. I mean,
how is he single, people? We don't know, but there you go.
And then gifts is getting gifts. Now, gifts doesn't necessarily mean the Gucci bag or the $1,000 golf club, right? It's actually ripping a flower off on a garden because you thought of me, and then you just come home, this is for you, babes. Like, or a card, because you're a news agent buying your lotto tickets, and you look in and you find a card and you go, that's how I feel about you right now. And then you come home and you give me a card. Wow. Right? So gifts. So we have all the love languages. We have all of them. Like, I love getting gifts, right? But it's not how I know that I'm being loved. But I can tell you, this week was my birthday week. Oh my. Especially, I didn't expect it. I've got a lot of friends overseas because I've traveled a lot in the last 11 years. And I met people everywhere. And I have a lot of clients overseas, right? More than in Australia. How about that? That's weird, right? And I'm getting all these. I had a birthday cake from somebody from Malaysia. Like, hello?
I want to jump in there. I want to commend those people doing that, because the way the mail service is right now, trying to get something delivered, to get that to turn up on the week of your birthday, let alone a day or two of your birthday, was incredible. Because my love Sandy sent me a T-shirt, probably started January, and it only arrived actually, I don't know if she sent it January, it might have been December, and it only arrived like last week. So it took like a month to get here, and to aim it, to get it to land, she was trying to get it as close to Valentine's Day as possible, was incredible. But your friend to get it in a day or two is amazing.
Let me finish up with the love languages, right?
Yes.
So for anybody who has read it, well, you know what it's all about. For those that hasn't, and this thing also has a quiz on the website, so you can do a quiz to find out what is your love language and what is and what's the love language of your partner, and you've got to love them in their love language, not in yours, right? Because if your love language is acts of service, but I keep telling you how much I love you and how beautiful you are and blah, 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 you don't care. You just want me to make your meal. But here's the thing. We're talking about love language to yourself, loving yourself, loving your partner, and relationships with others. So when you're looking at your relationship, stuff like this, it's not just for the two of you. It's also flowing into understanding your kids, understanding your parents, siblings, workmates. If you own a business and you have you have a team, understanding their love language, you will know how to become even a better leader. Because you will know if that person, words of affirmation, that just giving them a pat on the back and say, great job, thank you. Because many people say, my boss never says anything. Right? So it's important in all the areas of your life. And here's the thing, this guy wrote this book. He wrote it.
There's the website for the test. If you click on that or go to that, guys, you'll be able to go do the 5 love language test and find out for yourself what your 5 love languages are, or which one is your most prominent, because it will, like a lot of quizzes, they'll give you your strongest one and then your next one and one after that, as you said, from the strongest to the weakest. So I just looked that up and threw that up there.
And the quizzes there also have them for kids. And for those that are parents that are listening to this, your children, when they are smaller, your dynamic with them is different than when you are with teenagers. So they have he's got teenagers and children. So how do you apply those 5 love languages? Also, there's one for men. So as a woman, it's great to look at now, how am I going to love my partner? And he said, if I may, because this is really important, if I may, I just want to read this. It says, at the heart of every man is a desire to master what matters. Getting a compliment at work or on the court is nice, but nothing beats hearing your spouse say, you make me feel loved. If you haven't heard that in a while or feel like you're not bringing your A game into your relationship, this book is for you. So, for example, men want to know that, because in general, men, and you can vouch for this, Jayson, because I think you are that type of man, you want to make your woman happy. So when your woman turns around and says, you make me feel loved, because a woman is like a flower. If a flower you water. So we as sexes like being loved differently. So the whole thing is about choosing, having the attitude that I choose you every day. And I'll do whatever it takes to find out what rocks your boat, because this is what Tony Robbins says. Love is about serving your partner, but not serving like I'm going to put your slippers on. Right? Not that kind of. It's about knowing what moves you, what brings you joy and happiness, and do it because you choose. And that's a big word. It's not a decision that's based on variables. It's a choice. Simple as that. It's a yes or a no. It's not like, oh, I tried. There's no try. You either do or you don't. Simple as that.
We were talking about that last night. It's one of my all-time favorite lines because I'm a big Star Wars fan, and we were watching Return of the Jedi last night, and I went, if you look at Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back, that was my upbringing, and I hate the word try. I think there's even a sport here in Australia, rugby. Oh, they scored a try, and I'm like, no, they didn't try. They actually scored. It doesn't make sense. And you ask someone, can you give me a hand with that? Yeah, I'll try. Does that really sound like they're even going to do it? No.
Yeah.
Stupid word. You do or you don't. Love it.
Even the word I can't, it's not that you can't, it's that you won't, or I don't want to. So just be honest that you don't want to do something. This is where, though, the work happens, where a lot of people give up a lot of things, and especially in relationships, because they don't know how to deal with what's coming up for them, so then they just go away. Or they sacrifice a lot of things, they do a lot of things for their partners, but their partners don't do it back, and then resentment kicks in because you go, well, hang on a minute, I did that for you and I didn't really want to do it. Well, hey, responsibility, you made the decision, I didn't force you, right? So anyway, let's go back to the question.
Yep. Hang on, just swapping it up. There we go. I'll leave it at that. I was just putting that in there, sort of thing, to get the questions up. So let's go back up because we've got a stack of comments here. So let's just find. Tesh put a comment up earlier. Where are we? So, g'day, Michael. Welcome to join us. Christina, Sandy, Harley, how are you? Here we go.
Okay, it's my mom's anniversary on the 14th. What can you suggest I can do for her? Not physical, taking her out, but more emotionally for her.
Hitesh is a wonderful, wonderful gentleman and a friend of ours on the James E family that we met in mid-2020. And he lives in the UK. And he looks after his elderly mum, and she is just a darling. But I think that's the reason why he's saying not too physical, because she's not able to get out and about as much anymore. So that's why he's asking from an emotional side of things. What would you suggest, dear Annie?
Well, my question to Hitesh would be, in his observations of his mum's behavior, what are the things? There's things that she would be doing a lot or asking for. So you might want to kick back a bit and just try to remember, what does she like? Does she like you making her a cup of tea? Does she like a particular cake? I'm sure that over the years you've heard her say, oh, that is so lovely, dear, or I just like that, or buy her a bunch of flowers. What are her favorite flowers? Women like flowers, even guys like flowers. Buy her a bunch of flowers. Buy her a card and write in there how much you love her and what she means to you, and thank her for the various things that she did that really made a difference to you. So words of affirmation, acknowledgement. Make her a cup of tea. I would say she's not I don't know whether she might be a coffee drinker, but make her.
No, I think she's a tea drinker. She's a tea drinker from what I remember him talking about.
Make her a cup of tea in her favorite cup and say, Mom, today I want to spoil you. Make fuss over her, So it doesn't take much. A card, it's only a couple of pounds. If she's got her favorite cake, you get her favorite cake and bring her a bunch of, I don't know, posies or whatever she likes. I'm sure you know what flowers she likes. That's thoughtful, because it's relating to what she likes already. And the fact that you remember her cake, or if she eats cake, if she's allowed to eat cake, right? Or if that you remember what is her favorite flowers, that just lights up her. That I would say that would light her up. And also, I think at this age, they like company. So just being there, and maybe even ask her, does she like telling stories? Ask her about her life. Ask her to tell you a great story from her childhood. They like telling stories. Or mom tell me something exciting from your life. Spending the time at this point, like if children and the elderly spell love, Time. Time spent. That's how they feel loved. So I hope that this helps, Hitesh. And I'd look forward to hearing maybe from Jayson if you share with him what you ended up doing. I'm curious now.
I would also like to add, Hitesh, if you've got any old photo albums or you got old photos from years ago, sit down and go through with them. And as Annie was saying, talk about stories. Maybe you could pull out old photos and say, tell me about that. What happened then? Because, and obviously try and find, I know you may or not know, but try and find photos of good times. We don't want to bring up too many bad times because that could go the wrong way too if it's a photo that didn't end well. But, it might be a family gathering for an uncle's birthday, or it might have been a trip or something, or it might have been when you were a kid, and go, Mum, I don't remember when we used to go here. Can you tell me more about it? When did you go there? Because as Annie was saying, it's all about time. And I know you spend a lot of time with your mum, Hitesh, because I think he works from home because he's also helping other entrepreneurs to look after, family and friends and stuff like that, be home carers and stuff like that. And he does it very uniquely. He teaches you how to really set things up. So like he's got a timer that comes on the Sonos speaker in his lounge that tells his mum that she's got to take a medication, and he's got things set up like that that helps her. But that time to sit down with her is fantastic. So yeah, he's actually got a couple of other comments that just come in as well. He was just talking to Sandy about the 5 love languages recently. What do we got here? We got a few here. Christina, what are men's love languages? Well, they're pretty much the same, really, but just in a different order a lot of the time, aren't they?
No, actually not.
Really?
No. The love languages, there's no, it's not going to say, well, you're a man or you're a woman and it's different. It's the interpretation. So how's this? Like, let's say a Russian and a French meet in a holiday resort, and there's that attraction, and they come together, but they don't speak each other's language. So what can they do? Because there's this massive attraction and they fall in love, right? So what do? They learn each other's language. Mm-hmm. So that's one. You're from the same country, but you're from the north, the other person's from the south. Completely different dialect. So you got to learn each other's dialect. So as I said before, words of affirmation is to one, words of affirmation is to the other, could be 2 different things. So it's very important that you start communication about what this means to you. So if you do the quiz, the love languages quiz, and then it gives you the report, and then it gives you an explanation of the love languages. This is a wonderful, how's this? Do this for Valentine's Day today, because especially like in Melbourne, we're in lockdown, so we can't go out. Again, but we can't go out. So annoying, yes, but you've got to move on from that feeling of annoyance because there's nothing you can do about it, right? So then how about become creative? So here's the thing. Every time you are down, get creative and proactive, because all of a sudden you're going to shift your mindset to something else, your concentration, right? So when you why don't you do your love languages, get the report, get the descriptions, make yourself a cup of coffee or pour a glass of wine and sit together and talk about yourself. You know what does this mean to you? The whole thing about communication is about being present. So paying attention, not I'm sitting there and you can see the person is glazing over, you're glazing over. It's actually really being present to the person and then ask questions. What does this mean to you? What does this mean to you? Right? So in relation to the book, So that's why the question was asked. Well, you got to look at the book and just dig a little bit deeper, right? Get yourself the book. And how's this? I'll give you, this is a tip I learned the other day, which I thought was fantastic. A lot of people have Audibles. So if you get Audibles, you get a book on Audibles, and then you've got, that's right, and you've got the hard copy. Listen as you are reading, because what's happening, all your senses, your visual, auditory, and kinesthetic is all at play. So you're connected to all of your senses because you're listening to the words as you are reading them. And because you're holding the book, you actually, that's the kinesthetic part. So then you're retaining it more than just you doing one or the other, right? So this is a great.
You're usually doing something else which doesn't take it all in either.
That's right. Well, many times I listen to Audibles, and I have to say I need to stop because I'm so busy doing something, I'm concentrating on that, so I'm not fully present. Audibles is fantastic for me in a car because I see where I'm going, but all I'm doing is I'm listening, right? Because I'm seeing where I'm going. But hopefully that's a good tip. So I think the best thing is to find out, Christina, what men's love languages are exactly the same. It's just their interpretation can be very different. Very different. So it's our role to discover what that means to our partner or anyone. Yeah. I hope that answered your question.
Yep. Nice. A couple there.
I love the question, Christina. How do you recognize your soulmate? Well, I don't think that there's such thing as a recognition of a soulmate, but a soulmate, you can have many soulmates. My son is my soulmate. We have a very deep connection. So you could have a girlfriend who's a soulmate. Your mom can be a soulmate. It could be one of your work colleagues.
Yep.
So soulmates can be anybody. So I think it's your interpretation. So this is it's really interesting, but because what we perceive as a word is we learned from somewhere. So it's very important to do a little bit of research into words, because at the bottom of all misunderstandings is a misunderstood word. So what I mean is if I say, like I said before, what's integrity? So most people say is keeping your word. But there's also another level of integrity, which is integrity to self, but nobody thinks about that. And nobody knows about that until somebody tells you, because it's not the thing that we learn. So being in integrity to yourself is being whole and complete. Now, what does that mean? Is that you continuously grow so you can be whole and complete. So guess what? You're going to do that for the rest of your life, because there's always something new you discover about yourself. So a soulmate, if you look at the definitions and you start digging into it, could be anybody. So recognizing it is when you spend, well, this is how I would look at it. Like I have a couple of soulmates, is how I connect with them. And when there are challenges, both of us want to come together and figure it out. So me and my son, for example, I think he's my biggest soulmate, right? And I think my son is quite an old soul. So if everyone believes, yeah, he is. And our souls reborn and reborn, right? So when we have an argument, we've actually figured out our love languages. We understand what it is. And also there's this thing, I have to show you this because this is quite a,
well, look at that. What you prepared earlier.
What I prepared earlier, but it's not this, it's something else that I wanted to show. But we can look at that one. All right, so if I do this, right, I'm going to try to make a really nice circle. Where does your eye go?
The center.
Your eyes, do they go to the center? Okay, somebody else, where do your eyes go?
See if we got anyone on there.
Anyone?
There is a 20-second delay, so it is a little bit like, she did say thank you to your question before too. So
Thank you, Christina. All right.
For me, I'd look at the actual outline of the circle for starters, because you're looking at that.
So where does your eye go?
To the circle.
Yeah, and the circle, which part of it?
In the middle.
That's in your, it's really interesting because most people go here. The circle is not finished.
Oh yeah, I didn't even notice that because I hadn't zoomed in enough. So I thought it just faded out. So yeah, sorry.
Oh, you zoomed in. Okay, there you go. Zoom
go.
out because otherwise people don't see it.
Ah, yes.
So a circle in let's say in my field represents an event. This is an event, you and I, right? Yeah. So this is an event. An argument is an event. If people walk away, the circle is not complete. Okay? So what happens in relationships, you have an argument. If you don't come back and finish it off, then the questions that one has are still there. So then you have another argument. You have another unfinished circle. Then you have another one. So you're creating a chain of events, and at the end of it, there's resentment and anger and hurt and all of that. So it's very important that with all the tools that like you and I give people and that you learn about yourself, the whole intent is to always finish the circle. Okay? So you got to go back, as uncomfortable as it is, go back. And when that happens, all of this fall away, because every time you have another argument in general is over the same thing, and you create a long chain of hurt, because the next one, I know last time, this is what you did. So now you're compounding and stacking everything. And us women are very good at this, right? We're very good at this for compounding and then having a go at our men for hours and hours and hours, and he doesn't know he has no idea what he needs to fix, because men want to fix things, right? So there you go. So is Sandy your girlfriend? Excellent.
Yes, she is.
Congratulations. Okay, so he says she likes me to clean the house, which I do. She's not into flowers. Well, that's okay. It was just an idea. I don't know your mom, Hitesh. So, and okay.
Okay, so she's not allowed. I've just seen these now. She often tells me stories from the past. So, good.
Excellent. So she loves, for her, if I could look at this, acts of service would be one of her love languages possibly, and words of affirmation and quality time. So she just wants to tell stories. So we've given you quite a few tips. Pick the ones that I think you think it would work and give it a go.
There she is.
Archer, fantastic. Congratulations.
Yes, we did that today. She loves photos. There you go. There you go. Maybe put like a little bit of a montage or something together. I know Hitesh, for her birthday, he got us about 15 of us from around the world to get on and sing happy birthday. And we did this little thing where we passed this piece of paper through, and it was very clever. It was funny because we're all trying to sing happy birthday and we're all out of tune, all out of sync, but we got it done and she loved it. So it was fantastic. He's a very creative guy, the way he puts things together. So it was really good sort of thing.
Awesome.
Update us when he knows and to say thank you. What else have we got here? There's
so just going back to the to close the loop on the soulmate is about when you connect. So what I wanted to say about the circles. So with my son, I found this really worked. I said we need to. I explained to him the circle, and he said I love it. So possibly share this with your partner and then say we need to close the circle. So when you have arguments are important in relationships, because arguments, at the end of an argument, you each have your way of how to settle down, because when emotion is high, intelligence is low. So there's no communication is just, it ain't going to happen. So you each go away, cool down. You got to have an understanding, a code of honor. And this is something that lacks in relationships. Some people call it boundaries, but code of honor is even stronger, because it's a set of rules that keep you safe and keep you connected and keeps teams together. And a relationship is a team. Yeah. So you got to have some rules like, okay, when we argue, how do we argue? Do we swear at each other, but don't take it personally because it's just releasing, or no swearing? That's a code. It's a rule.
Is there certain words that trigger you that you don't want to use? You know, you've got to be clear on that and so forth as well.
Well, yeah, in an argument, or every morning when I go to work, we have to have a hug and a kiss, and not just a peck. We need to have that connection. When you come home from work, so it's a code. So we don't go to bed angry. Stepping outside the marriage is not a given. If there's issues within the marriage where there's a distance, now we need to do the work to come back together, right? Stepping outside the marriage is not a thing. So code of honor is very, very important in relationships, because that's why a lot of relationships break down, because there's no code, right? So having a soulmate is somebody, I believe, that's my belief. I mean, there's lots of definitions, is somebody that I'm very connected with and I have a really, really lovely relationship with. And so it could be anybody. And Christina, if you want to look something up, look up twin flames. That's another thing. So if you're into soulmates, then also you could look into twin flames, because the twin flame could be somebody who is almost exactly like you, like even your facial structure and your eyes could be the same shape, but the opposite. It's your mirror. So it's like one soul that got split in two. So you can also have twin flames as a partner also. So if you're interested in that.
Yeah, no, I just found there's a website that'll take you that talks an article about the twin flame signs, meanings, and stages as well, sort of thing. So, guys, we're going to have to wrap this up because poor Annie has to go and have a break. Because if you're around, I'm going to put her details up on the screen right now. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you for tuning in. There you go. She's loving that for sure.
I love
if you want to know more about Annie, we have got, where have I got it? Nope, there we go. There she is at anniekallis.com. We can email Annie at anniekallis.com. So if you want to reach out, if you love Annie's work, by all means, being a huge fan of hers for years and years. I think it's been 10, 12, 14 years or something we've known each other. And it's always, even this has been just a wealth of information that I'm just flooded with, and probably have to watch replay myself, sort of thing, to go through some of the stuff. We run out of time. We've covered a lot, but I want to say thank you very much for joining us this morning, and for each of you for tuning in. If you want to find out where Annie is, there's her stuff up on the screen. By all means, please reach out to us, say hello. You're on the socials, are you?
Yes, I'm everywhere.
She's everywhere.
I'm on
Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
It's just my Annie Kallis. Just Annie Kallis is not hard to find. But I wanted to say something here, that this is really amazing, and it just shows when you do a lot of work on yourself, you're very you're confident within yourself, because here we are, two relationship coaches, right? So in general, people are like, well, but how can you? Because you do what they do. Like it's a competition. But there's no competition, because we have the same purpose and mission to help people have better relationships, to reduce the divorce rate, to have families where children feel safe, and that comes from working with the parents and for singles to find inner peace. So we all have different ways based on our individual experiences. So for me, I am so grateful. And when I heard about Jayson, what Jayson does, I met Jayson, but I didn't actually know what Jayson did. And when I found out that he does relationships, I was like, oh my God, we have to have lunch, because it's great to share stories, and that what that does is we help each other to learn from each other, and then we help even more people because we have even more knowledge. So it's just, I know somebody said to me before, they said, well, why do you talk to people that do the same thing as you do? I'm like, you kidding me? I can learn stuff. And I know on the lunch that I had with you, I was like, I was dumbfounded because you got such depth of knowledge, and you yourself, you're a deep person and you're very connected. So I'm just so grateful that you invited me. Like, I was really honored. And when I sent me the message, I went, oh, thank you. Yes, Christina. Yes, yes, yes. And I have a twin flame in America, and I feel him when he's sad. He feels me, and we send a message, you okay? Straight away. Yes. I'm Aquarius. Yes.
There you go, Christina. You guys are going to hook up. You're going to get on, have a chat to Annie. Look her up on the socials by all means. But no, again, thank you very much. We could go on for another hour, but you are jumping on a Zoom call at 10 o'clock to share your knowledge even more on a Zoom call. So look her up. You might be able to find it, guys, at anniekallis.com or on the socials, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. She's probably TikToking somewhere as well as we speak.
I am TikToking.
I bet your son got you onto that, didn't he?
Who?
I bet your son got you onto that, did he?
No, my niece, because she does the dance videos. So we did a few dance videos together. But now I actually have a 28 days relationship challenge that's going on in TikTok.
Oh, well, I've seen that on Facebook. So you're doing them on TikTok and sharing them on.
No,
yeah, I've already done 2 TikTok videos. I need to get into it a bit more, but we'll get there. Maybe we'll have to do a TikTok together one day.
how to reconnect to your partner in 28 minutes. So that's 1 minute per day. So my videos have I give people something to do, 1 minute a day. I tell you, if you do what I put in there every single day, by the 28th day, I could tell you there'll be a bigger connection. Because if you do all that stuff for each other, things will shift because you're concentrating on romancing your partner.
And you'll be exhausted because she's teaching you dance moves at the same time. No.
No, I'm not dancing in that one. I'm not.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, anyway, thank you very much, guys, for joining us today. At the same time, we'll be back next Sunday at the same time, 8 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time, 7 p.m. Queensland time. I think it's about 1 in the US and late in the UK. But thank you to everyone. We've got Tesh, we've got Sandy, Christina, Enya has just jumped on. Harley, there's so many of you. Thank you very much for joining in. Sorry we've gone over time, but what a wealth of information. I guess we're going to be bringing back Annie K in a few weeks' time. We might have to bring her back on for a part 2 because there's so much to cover. But thank you very much for joining us all. You guys rock. You've been fantastic. And until next week, stay safe, look after yourselves, and we will get out of here.
Bye.